Hello and welcome to MOC membership. Today, my dear friends, we will talk about errors. But before we start about the errors, first of all, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the channel MOC membership and also check my new channel, which is called MOC Talks. Okay, so there is both channels. One is specifically for the memberships, it's specifically with the educations, but the other one it's more about some talks, about some discussions for the industry and all the things that I have observed, let's say, through the time. Moreover, very important thing is that I will continuously stop referring, let's say, companies and all that things because yes, they does not make any sense. They do not like to improve, and yes, by talking something that are not willing really to improve, it does not make sense. Okay, so this is just a reflection, okay, of how the things are working. It's nothing more, let's say, personal or something. It's just a reflection what I have seen as a worker. Yes, because I have been work in different companies, and I can realize yes how the things are function and for what reason are function this way. Okay, what is the problems are faced, and yes, most of the people are not discussing this problem because basically through the fear that has been created in the industries that they're working in the environments. And fear, it is the worst thing, it's the worst advisor in any cases, okay, in any businesses. That's why I have also described how the fear also does not create opportunities, how the fear also reduce the effectiveness of the companies and the individuals, and how the fear also leads to accidents and incidents. Moreover, these accidents and incidents, they are prone to increase because we have slowly pace down all the things. Okay, we normalize the things, yes, that everything is under control. But since you realize that the things is gaining traction on the opposite direction, there is already things lost it. And basically, yes, this is due to less investments from the companies and let's say from individuals on the training and the education. That's why I highly concerned about the educational level on many industries. And yes, this is the reason why the things happen. Okay, behind it is everything has to do with the educational and how we respond to specific, let's say, events. Okay, because if we're here just to telling the events and listening the things as we tell them, it does not make any sense. Okay, and yes, if nobody wants to really improve and change the thing to a direction which is more profitable, less risky, and more efficient, okay, this is up to you. Okay, I cannot press anyone to select on another way or another way. Okay, so you have to make your own decision and your own selection. Will you join, let's say, one of the memberships, or you will stay in keeping the same things as I always listening? We have done that for 10 to 15 years. Okay, keeping do that, I will not do that because I simply would like to develop further and learn what is deep down in the rabbit hole. Okay, I'm not that the person that will stop developing myself. I will continue developing until I will reach another level of, let's say, knowledge, which will boost my perception and understanding of how the things are working. Because I really like things to work in the proper way, because by things working in the proper way, you make them much more safer and much more enjoyable to work. Because what's the point working in the environment that does not serve you, that does not serve your communities, and does not create you additional opportunities? There is no sense, okay? It's just accepting, and I cannot accept after for how many years in this industry, I cannot accept things that are not normal, okay? So that's why I highly recommend you to join the educational material that I have specifically created on this channel, and it will take you level by level to the highest level that is possible within the industry, and knowing things that nobody else is knowing better and precisely. So I have created many videos also for managers recently. They can check them, they can look them, they can educate themselves, because stopping educating, it's a really issue in the management level. Today we will talk about the type of levels and errors that happening consistently on board. And I will describe also why this kind of mistakes are happening, okay? And at least at the end of this video, you will know exactly which error you should take care, okay, or be careful. Because since you know them, you are much better to identify them and also understand them and realize, okay, I have these errors, what I should be careful for. And this is why it's so much important. Through the training material and through education, you increase your awareness. By increasing your awareness, you identify the risks, and then by identifying the risks, you make your job much easier. So the amount of money that you are taking at the end, the profits, let's say, from your salary, they're coming much more easier. We do not work to be exhausted completely, to be like slaves. We are working clever with our mind, and by working clever, we make our life easier. We do not like to make our life difficult, okay? Otherwise, we are slaves, like in the pyramids. We're just building the pyramids, and that's all. We're following the leader, let's say, as they call it. So, type of errors. We have three main type of errors, okay? The one is the spurious error, which is the false error or a mistake error that each and every of us can do. It is, let's say, for example, a misreading of a measurement. It can be temperature, it can be also level gauging, okay? So you send down oiler or wiper and they ask them, what is the level of that tank? And he says, okay, it's 20 cm, chief. It is 20 cm. You note it down in the logbook or on the oil record book, let's say, for example. And then the port state control comes, the authorities comes, and they see that you have a false entry on the oil record book. So what is happening directly? There will be an investigation, okay? You have let's say, said that you have 20 cm, but actually you have 30 cm. So this is the false error. The false error by misreading the gauge tape or the temperature, okay? That's why when we are working with our people, we train them. We take that time in order to show them, okay, this is how you will read. This is how you will gauge, okay? It is simple things, but also the most biggest mistakes happen in the simple things. Just remember that. The other thing is a systematic error. A systematic error which can be present on a system, let's say on the land tank. It can be, let's say, another example, the resistance of a thermometer, let's say, can be damaged. It can happen, yes. And this thermometer will show you another value. But you should know, why is this error there? What is the reason of error there? Because when you read something, does it representative of what I'm reading for? Or does it, let's say, something that does not make any sense? That's why from engineering view of point, and also it can be also engineering, we can say an overall view of point also for the officers on deck. When we are looking to the values and we have a vessel, we at least need to know where this equipment is working. what is the range, the operational range that the equipment is working. And if you take the book, if you take a book, for example, yes, if you take the first page of the book here, okay, this is for crudo washing, at least it has to have a description about what this equipment, let's say, presents, or what the book has to say about that, okay? And as you can see in the most of the technical books, in the most of, let's say, technical books for the machinery, for the equipment, they have reference, first of all, the specifications and the data, the machinery data and the operational data of the equipment. This is happened for the reason because then you can see clearly the range, the operational range that the equipment has. And through the educational material that you have seen also here on this channel, I have also highly increased the awareness of how this operational range is also reflected to the human, okay? As human, we are not less than machine. We have similar needs. We have needs for air, for water, for, let's say, PP, and all the things, okay? For the food, the similar needs has the equipment as well. You cannot compromise the equipment or yourself. Otherwise, there will be disbalance. That's why the management and the human management, it has a level of understanding. And not everyone has this level of understanding and awareness, okay? Not every person, because first of all, we have all different experience and we have all different level of awareness through our existence. So what the book says about the crudo washing, let's say, guide. This publication, Crudo Washing Masterclass, is protected under the international copyright law. No part. Okay, this material is intended solely for educational and informational purposes. Okay, it has a description. The procedures, regulations, and best practices presented here may be varied by flag state, classification society, or charter requirements and should be always verified against the latest maritime standards and regulatory guidelines. Okay, this is some guidance that you have to check by yourself. That's why always when you receive information, you have to check it. So we have the spurious error, we have the systematic error, and we have the random error. The random error, it can be a ripple passing across the liquid surface during the level gauging. So as the vessel is moving, and the tanks also has different shapes on board, whenever you take a measurement, let's say of a tank, there can be waves, okay? So if you measure here, you will get a different value. If you measure here, you will get a different value because you will have this difference on the level gauging, okay? So this is referred to the random error, and the same thing can be a parallax error while reading a thermometer, okay? It is also referred to the thermometers and also referred to the level. That's why when you know these three types of error, the spurious error, the systematic error, and also the random error, there is three of them. Now you know what you have done wrong or well, since you understand that. And today now we will discuss about the source of this error. What is the source that able to create these errors, these three errors? The first of all, and very important, is the product itself. If it's viscous or if it is volatile. Because sometimes when you measure diesel and you see while you have, let's say, the stick, and you measure the diesel with the tape, you are putting your paste and all the things, but sometimes it's very difficult to identify where the actual level is. Okay. And the opposite things happen when you have a viscous product. Here, you have a viscous product, you dip the tape on it. Basically, the tape is going like this way. Let me show you. Okay, this way in the product. This is the liquid down below here. This is the liquid. So what is happening when you pull your tape on top? It will drag the liquid itself, okay? It creates this kind of effects, the viscous product. So when you dip down also a viscous product, you need to wait some time, okay, until it will go down steadily. And also the feeling, yes, if it's too viscous, if the design of the tank is not proper, because many of the tanks are not properly designed. Let's say, for example, you have a tank here, and this is mostly happening in the bulk areas and all the things, and you have your measuring point from here, and the tape is going something like that, and then you have a viscous product here, you can make a huge error on the bunker measurement. And this has a huge effect of how the bunkers are measured on board the vessel. It has a huge effect of bunkering surveys and also pre-bunkering measurements and all the things. So this also creates additional cost through the life of the vessel, because due to these errors, due to these mistakes. That's why I also have specifically designed the bunkering optimization project. I have specifically designed the sludge optimization project. And one of the projects that I have been work and improve while I was working in my last job as a marine technical advisor, it was related with the dewatering. Just imagine a small change for replacing some things. It saved for the company $300,000. So basically, with one only project, I covered all my salary for more than 3.5 years. So basically, with just one project, I covered my salary by myself, okay, with what I delivered only from one project, not from the loss control perspective. I covered my salary. So this is how much efficient the projects and the designs that I am making, okay. There is not the company that make these projects. I was the one that implemented the projects. I was the one that was allocated and spent my energy and my passion, my knowledge, my technical knowledge and my expertise to that, okay. And yes, very important thing is that the measurement object, you know what kind of objects you have. Is it viscous? Is it a volatile product? And then the design of the tank, how the tank is being designed. It is very, very important. The next thing is what type of measurement we have. Do we have the automatic level gauge, a thermometer? This also has errors, okay? In order to have a proper indication, you have to calibrate them. That's why automatic level gauges and thermometers needs calibrations, and there you can have also a significant source of errors. Another thing is the observer itself, okay, or the instrument of the operator. That is two things that you should really be careful. The observer is the person that are making the reading itself, and the instrument is the tool that you are inserting, let's say the UTI, the gauge, the rod, the stick, let's say, for example. This is the instrument part. How these things are calibrated, how they're verified is really, really important to avoid these errors. And this is one of the source of error. Different approach will have, let's say, a terminal operator, different approach will have a cargo surveyor, and different approach will have a marine technical advisor, okay? That means not that much in the different way, but in the different approach of how the things are working, okay? So we need to follow some steps. We have to verify that the equipment is calibrated recently. It has been checked for the temperature. Let's say, for example, before we measure the tanks. Before we measure the tanks with the UTI, we take a bucket. This is a bucket here. Let's draw it here. We take a bucket with water. We fill water here inside. And we insert the UTI tape sensor in it. And we insert also similar here from the same level and space. We insert the sensor, a calibrated sensor. So this is a calibrated sensor. This is our UTI sensor. And we check what is the difference of temperature before we gauge all the cargo tanks. And this is one thing that should be done before making any checks. Personally, also, I believe that it's not only this test that needs to be done, because maybe yes, the range of error at the beginning is, let's say, small, but if it's hot, it became the range of error much bigger. So this also test cover part of the actual image of what's happening. So it's better to have a cold water and have a hot water, and then test the sensors and calibrations in the both conditions. But this is, yes, almost done never, okay? And the next thing that source of error, we have 4 sources of error. It is the measurement, the environment that we take the measurements, okay? If it's too windy, if it is dark, if it is snowing, if it is cold, all that things are affecting the measurement itself. And also one another thing that can affect the tanks, and I have also explained in the videos that I have specifically created in this channel, the level changes through the operational interference through, let's say, the transfers and using different tanks. I have explained how some vessels are really, really affected of how you use the tanks. It is available on the membership through the technical manager, I believe, level, or the superintendent level. Somewhere the video is there, I remember it, and how it affects really the level of the tanks. It is again through the design, it is again, yes, how the things are working, and yes, how you understand your vessel. And the next thing also is the terminal design, which plays a huge and significant role of how the things can be performed, how the things and operations can be done, what capabilities the terminal itself gives you, and flexibilities. Because a terminal, through my understanding, it has a huge potential of saving money, okay? That's why when I started my company, now it is already closed due to the high taxes, okay? And also low demand for improvement from the facilities. Because basically there is not such expertise that they can utilize, okay? This is the main reason. Not that I was the one that failed to deliver, let's say, the progress and all the thing, but mostly it is the low demand and the low understanding of what I'm doing, okay, from the people, because not always everyone is able to understand what actually you are doing. And this is one of the barriers that I also explain why you should not select the A path when you have this barrier, and you should go to the B, which is the easiest way. Okay, done with that. The website is not working because simply, yes, there is no reason to keep the website, and just everything it's on YouTube here, just one place, just one marketplace, which is everything available for you. I again explain, it is not my thing that I did something wrong. It is that the people, yes, are not able to understand my level of knowledge, okay? And this is, yes, the reason basically why they are not able to utilize my knowledge. This happening a lot of across the organizations, because simply the organizations are not open-minded. They are really old-fashioned, old ways of operation. They still, you need to go to the office and all that things, which is really destroy all the things that you can create. You can, let's say, make all the things. So it's much better here, sitting in the calm environment without listening, let's say, stories that does not have any sense and any value. And yes, much better from here, because I can explain easily, take by steps, and continue to do what I really love to do, okay? Which bring me progress and desire to improve things, rather than commuting on a useless train, let's say, on a country that you don't like and going to the place that you don't really like, okay? So we have explained that we have three types of errors. We have the spurious error, we have the systematic error, we have the random error, and then we have four sources of error. Measurement of object, viscous product volatile, measurement of instrument, second, automatic level gauging or thermometer, the observer and the instrument, terminal operator or surveyor, cargo surveyor, and measurement environment, which is the weather conditions and the terminal design. So you can see directly how many aspects are already related with, let's say, the sources, as we explained, related with the error itself. But this is a general overview, okay? This is a general overview. A discharge, a crude oil discharge, or any discharge of the vessel, but mostly crude oil, and I think it is the most difficult discharge from all other discharges, because the product itself, it's not uniform, it has different behavioral aspects, and I clearly describe everything here, what to watch, what to be careful. And yes, the turtle was specifically selected here with the clear C on the main page, because by following all the things that are best practices through the industry here, you're able to keep the sea clean as much as possible. And this is the purpose why the crude oil washing was created. This was the main reason. With this book, you will able to unlock the secrets of crude oil washing, master the techniques that drive safer operations, cleaner tanks, and better cargo recovery. This comprehensive guide provides practical knowledge and real-world insights into the science, procedures, and regulations of the crude oil washing. Wherever you are a marine officer, terminal operator, or industry professional, this book equips you with skills to plan, execute, and troubleshoot crude oil operation with confidence. From fundamentals to advanced strategies, become an expert or the expert your vessel needs. So that is really important, that this book was written in a specific methodology in order to take you step by step from historical events, from the daily activities that you are perform, let's say, while discharging or loading the vessel, and which things you really need to take in account. Another thing that really plays a huge role, but okay, it's mostly related with the terminal itself, that as we have the tank, and the tank also itself, it is a huge error of source of errors, because this is a land tank, okay? This is a land tank filled, let's say, with the product. As we fill the product here, more pressure will be on the plates, okay, on the floor, on the sides, through the hydrodynamic influence, okay. And how much these distortions are taken into account, it also are able to combine on a highly, let's say, amount of errors. How much distortion it has. Does the tank, let's say, lastly calibrated, when it was calibrated, what was the result, and how the tanks also are performing through the times. Because maybe you can go for some terminals and you have, let's say, a overall discharge performance of loss of 0.10%, okay, 0.10%. I don't know if it's visible, 0.10% loss. That loss, it's not that much big. It is fully, let's say, within the range that the industry accepts it, okay. But if you have then a loss which is minus 0.30%, that is already starts increase the concerns. But it's not always the fall of the vessel, it is all that tank distortions that can happen, okay. Because the pressure itself does not only going this way, it goes also this way, okay. It press outside. And these tanks are calibrated for, let's say, full initial calibration stripping tables every 10 to 15 years when they are going for cleaning. Also, it can be also not the problem of the vessel, the loss, okay, because there is a lot of parameters that you should take in account, which is also terminal related. When we are looking, let's say, for a loss or this source of errors, when a vessel is discharging to a terminal, it is the combination of the vessel errors and the errors that are being done in the terminal. Because if, for example, the operator has forget to close the valve to one of the nearby tanks here, okay, this is the valve here, and the terminal operator forgot to close this valve for, let's say, some specific time, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, some of the product could end to this tank. That's why the movements and all the things has to be taken really in consideration, and should be really monitored really carefully. But today, yes, we will stay in that. We will stay on the types of error, the source of error, and the tank distortion. I have also other cases that I have identified while working with the tanks and the source of error, and how much important is to monitor the tanks themselves from the view of point of quality of the work is performed, also maintenance, also keeping in good shape. But for this video, I will make it specifically to describe and tell things that are other things that are affecting the errors and the measurements, which is closely related with the tanks. For the moment, that is a great video. I hope you will join also the memberships and the simulations that I have run through the years, and that will increase your awareness and your ability to judge better the performance of one or another discharge. Thank you very much. Stay tuned to MOC membership and MOC talks from Michael. Have a nice day. Bye bye.